Well. We have the final practice squad list for the Philadelphia Eagles. Still a few things that need to happen. I know there's a few spots that are open. I think there's like 2 spots left as of right now upon making this video. A few things I definitely want to go over this practice squad list, kind of dissect it a little bit, and obviously guys coming back, and few other things since we got into practice today, and some things we really need to discuss, because I feel like our final 53 is our final 53 or a slated 53, but our practice squad list is another list to where things could change over time between final 53 and the practice squad, because things can always change within 2 weeks of the season starting. So want to go through all that. So let's get into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I hope everyone's enjoying their work week. And since we are all here, we got the slated 53-man roster, but I would say isn't final yet. I think they'll be switching some things around. But the practice squad list is officially done, per se, as of right now. So the official list has come out. So to name the finalists here: wide receiver Devin Allen, wide receiver Britton Covey, you have Mekhi Gardner, Julian Good-Jones, Teron Jackson, Kyron Johnson, Tristan McCollum, Joseph Nagata, Brady Russell, Aaron Siposs, Brett Toth, Ben Van Sumeren, and Greg Ward. Okay, now there was about 3 names missing off, or 3 spots open on this list, so they should be able to sign 3 more players to the practice squad. They did sign another one, an undrafted free agent from 2020 from the Chargers, Tywone Mullen, another cornerback. This team is turned into from a quarterback factory into a DB factory, which I don't mind at all, because when you really look at it, even at the cornerback position right now, I mean, Slay's only here for this year and throughout 2024, which he will become a free agent after next year. So there are going to be some big decisions that the Eagles are going to have to make, and the more competition, the more the merrier. Don't forget, we have Isaiah Rodgers that we signed, and he won't play until next year because of the gambling stuff that's going on, but he's suspended for the whole year. He obviously has to talk to the league and try to get himself out of this situation with Roger Goodell and the NFL. So that's a whole other thing we have to go through next year. But besides, really projects and upcoming players at DB is awesome. So glad they're adding a lot of defensive backs, especially cornerback. You never know what you're going to need. I mean, with James Bradbury has a 3-year deal, counting this year, the year after, the year after. And like I said, Slay's only here for this year, next year. If they decide they feel like somebody is ready to replace him in the next couple of years, including this year, we'll see what happens. But what I like from this list so far is obviously Devin Allen, Britton Covey coming back, getting through the waivers, which I was very happy about it. And, see what our special teams are going to look like for punt return, kick return. There's no doubt that Covey will be the punt returner. They'll probably move up to the active roster 3 times during the year, and be the guy. I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of Britton Covey. I had some fights on the comment sections of a couple of videos already about Britton Covey. He was thrown to the fire as an undrafted free agent. He isn't a 2nd-round pick. He isn't a 3rd-round pick. He's not even drafted at all. So, I mean, I think the one person we have to blame is Michael Clay for just this decision-making. I mean, you have to get these guys prepared, in case you need a punt returner or kick returner. What are your options here? And I feel like we haven't really found out what our options were. We've got splurts. Devin Allen has 1 game of kick returns, and he's never had kick returns ever in training camp this past offseason. So it really pisses me off a little bit that they just haven't given a lot of guys opportunity. And that's on Michael Clay. It's not on the players. They're doing whatever they possibly can. Doesn't mean they're not good. If they're not given opportunity, how can I blame the players at all? You know what I mean? So with Britton Covey and Devin Allen coming back, it was great. Very happy for that. Cornerback Mekhi Gardner. Gardner was, oh my God. I mean, I didn't think he was going to make it at all. I thought he was going to get signed by somebody else. Had really good. I mean, this is a guy that could obviously play. They've actually cross-trained him safety and cornerback. They've had him on the inside as well, which is pretty good. So he's another player that can move around a little bit. And I'm really glad he's back. I thought he had I think it was really between Mario Goodrich and Mekhi Gardner. I didn't really know that they were going to, I didn't know they were going to keep 7 DBs at all on the active roster. Didn't think, I mean, for the final 53, I didn't know they were going to keep 7, which is insane. But there's so much talent there, so much, whether it's for the future, whether it's projects, whether it's, guys that are on the come up a little bit, maybe need another year. I think it's one of the deepest DB rooms we've ever had. And that's safe to say. We haven't had a room like that in probably a lot of years, I got to say. You know what I mean? We've always been in panic mode signing cornerbacks, and, we've never had this much depth before at that position. So with Garner coming back, it's just great. So I don't know what the Eagles have to do. I don't know what the rule is for protecting players on the practice squad so they don't get claimed by other teams during the year. So I don't know if it's 2 or 3 they can protect every single week. So I have to kind of look at that. I don't really know the rule to all that. So Teron Jackson's another one. I thought Teron Jackson was going to get a contract somewhere else, at least be a rotational guy or something, because even the Colts game, he had like 6 pressures. I mean, he's pressure-wise been doing really good on the edge. And, he was drafted by the Eagles, then he went somewhere else, then he came back. So, nice to have some qualified depth there if you need him to move up for a game or something like that. So, Teron Jackson, I was actually pretty stunned that he actually came back. Kyron Johnson brings you more linebacker depth. I don't know if Nicholas Morrow signs somewhere else, but, Kyron Johnson's back. And I mean, really the only problem with Kyron Johnson, needs more work, and obviously health has been an issue with him recently. Joseph Nagata at wide receiver. I already knew he was going to come back to the practice squad, but needs a little bit more work. Obviously, the separation and speed is really where I'm kind of going at with him. Contested catches are A+, but didn't really show too much of that this offseason. There were times he got open. There were times he was missed. And a couple of the first 2 preseason games in the end zone for a touchdown wide open. I think he's more of a work in progress with Joseph Nagata. He was the highest paid undrafted free agent at $230,000 the Eagles signed. So we'll see about that. And obviously we talked about Greg Ward in the other video that we made here. Greg Ward coming back. It's got to be a lot of loyalty with Greg Ward. I mean, he was released, not waived. Waived is you have to go through a waiver wire. Released is when you get flat out released and you can sign anywhere. So there's got to be a lot of, he's into these are just examples of players that are really into the culture, that are into what the Eagles are going, or what they're building and going for. You know what I mean? Greg Ward is the oldest receiver that we have, which it says a lot about our receiver core right now. I know a lot of fans are kind of mad that, Greg Ward should deserve another opportunity, that maybe 4 wide receivers just wasn't enough, since Quez hasn't really done. He's been out mostly with injury, and I don't know. I think Oz might be taking that 3rd spot. Maybe, you never know. If Quez doesn't, if they don't feel like Quez is going to be ready by the first week, and maybe have to give Oz a little bit more reps at that position. I guess we'll, find out, when the time comes. So overall, great. Ben Van Sumeren, another guy undrafted from Michigan State, has played fullback and played linebacker, but just needs to know more terminology. A freak athlete, very quick. I've seen him disrupt the backfield very good, shoot the gap really well at linebacker. Issue is his tackling's not really great. I've seen him very sluggish on tackling, and that's been a problem in preseason as well. Some of the tackling between a lot of these guys are not wrapping up nicely. So need more work with that. So overall, I think the list is really good. Now, there's 3 names missing from this. 3 spots missing. So they can add 3 more players that, like I said, they did sign. Taiwan Mullen. So that's 1 spot. So there's 2 open spots left right now on practice squad, depending what they're doing right now. And Aaron Siposs was at practice, and Aaron Siposs is still on this roster. He was at practice. I don't know what's. I mean, they said they were going to bring him back. I mean, I think they already said they were going to bring him back anyway. Okay. This doesn't mean that he's not going to be moved. Okay. Practice squad is practice squad. Active roster is active roster. Like, nothing's final until the season starts. Okay. I think moves can be made. I think they could switch around guys, but if they have interest in Braden Mann, if that's what they want to sign, because they had interest in him last year, they couldn't get him. And then this year, there was apparently a trade between the Steelers and the Eagles for a punter, and the Eagles probably backed out of it because they were kind of, I don't know. He's a backup punter for the Steelers, so how much are you going to really have to give up? So they probably just backed out of it. And then Braden was released. So, we already heard from Derek Gunn that Matt Ariza does not have a tryout with the Eagles. They probably have no interest, depending on what's going on behind the scenes we don't know about. But with Braden, I think there's a possibility here. He was released by the Steelers, so hopefully they do pick him up. And there's got to be somebody. The only thing I hate about this practice squad is Aaron Siposs. That's it. I really have nothing to complain about here. They brought some guys I didn't think would come back, and that's great. You know what I mean? So on top of, needing a punter, special teams, we need something here. Eagles could be working Aaron Siposs out for a couple days to see if he still looks good, or if maybe they'll change their mind on him. I don't know, but I'm not putting too much into it, and I hope they sign somebody else. Aaron Siposs has got to go, and he's got to go now. So this could change. We have 2 weeks till the season starts. This could change easily, so I wouldn't make a big deal about it. Now, with 2 open spots to the practice squad right now, okay, now news came out, Trey Sermon. Okay, Trey Sermon cleared waivers and reverted back to the Eagles injured reserve. So, yes, the Eagles did try to trade Sermon because they figured he would have some value. Apparently, there was some bites, but nothing of what the Eagles wanted trade compensation-wise for Trey Sermon. Now they put him to the injured reserve, which he'll miss, 4 to 8 games? I don't know, 4 to 8 games, or is it 4 games? I don't know. I don't know if that's just PUP list for 4 games, or is injured reserve, 4 to 8 games or 8 games. I'm not really sure. So he ended up getting hurt in the finale for the Colts game. Okay, I think it's an ankle or something like that. So they tried to trade him. He went through waivers, came back because he was hurt. So I guess no teams wanted to pick him up because he was hurt. Now they're just going to stash him. So technically, he's not on the practice squad or the active roster. He's on injured reserve, so he's not going to count towards the practice squad or the active roster. Obviously, he wasn't making this team because they were keeping 4 running backs anyway. Even with the rumors with Penny, and after they sat Penny in that 3rd preseason game, the finale, Trey Sermon really had no chance after that, or really hadn't had a chance in a while. So what are they doing here? Are they going to try to trade Sermon during the season? Are they saving a spot for Trey Sermon when he comes back? So if Trey Sermon takes that other spot at the practice squad, there's going to be 1 more spot left, which I could think it's going to be for a punter that they're going to bring up sooner or later. They're going to have to put Ojomo on IR, most likely, which would free up the punter spot, most likely, for now when the season starts. So that's my plan of how I think they will go about it. But I think Sermon's going to be a stash. They're going to protect him every week, and I think they're going to look for some type of trade partner. If a running back goes down, week 9 of the trade deadline is the last week of the trade deadline, week 9. So what do you guys think of the whole Trey Sermon thing right now? Putting him on injury reserve. Obviously, he is hurt, okay? Not a serious injury, but they're stashing him. So I think there's something there. There's something going on there. I'm glad he's back. No doubt. You know what I mean? That figured we were going to lose him, but maybe this injury kind of saved him a little bit going on waivers, being injured and going on waivers. So definitely a lot to talk about there going forward. We saw first glimpse of Albert O. Sorry, I have the sound on. I forgot to turn it off. Albert O. In the Philadelphia Eagles uniform, obviously practice uniform. Number 47. God, Nate Gary's number is on him. I hope it doesn't bring bad luck. But, man, I watched some clips on Albert O. I watched a lot more on him. And, man, I don't know. The Eagles won this trade in a million different ways. I don't know what the tight end group for the Broncos is going to be. Obviously, Albert O goes on waivers. He's not lasting that long. He's not going to make it to the Eagles that are dead last on the waiver list. This man can run routes. This guy can get separation. This guy can contest catches. This guy can make acrobatic catches. I mean, it's almost crazy. It's crazy what this guy could do as a hybrid tight end / wide receiver, and he's a phenomenal blocker. And I think he's just in a better situation. With a lot of the Broncos fans, what they said about Albert O is they figured out that, maybe he wasn't in the best situation coaching-wise, and they feel, or we feel as of right now, and I feel that he's in a better situation now with this tight end group. And I think futuristic-wise, because I don't think they're ever going to keep 4 tight ends every single year. I think this guy could potentially be the straight-up backup, okay, for Dallas Goedert. Whether they choose between Stahl and choose between Grant Calcaterra. think Stahl has a little bit more value just because his blocking is very good. And Calcaterra is probably our fastest guy, but I don't know if that's the case now with Albert coming in with a 4.49 that he ran. But when it comes to route running and separation, it's insane, and his catching is on point. Reminds me of Trey Burton, but a quicker version of him, which is interesting. Yeah, 6'4", 6'5", 258. I mean, Jesus. Man, I'm excited for this guy. We gave up nothing for this, So not only is he not going to be used as a tight end, but in certain packages, he could be a great blocker. He could be, just another weapon for Jalen Hurts at the end of the day. If a receiver goes down, or they have plenty of guys out there that they could just throw in. Quez could play both receiver spots. You have Oz that could play a pure slot. And tight ends with Dallas Goedert, if he could stay healthy the whole year, because that's the one thing with Dallas Goedert we've been having issues over, is like, I think he would have had close to 1,000 yards last year, but he gets these little nitbit injuries. He's out for a few weeks, and it hurts him. But sometimes injuries are a blessing in disguise too, because it gives other guys opportunity, which I really do like, So he's happy to be in Philadelphia. His Twitter, he was really, really happy about it. So I'm hoping they use him well. And I think I'm so shocked they're keeping 4 tight ends. I'm still stunned by it. So it's going to be interesting. But other than that, that's pretty much it. We went over, the practice squad. Still another spot left, what they could do. Aaron Siposs still here. Is this final? We're going to find out a lot of things in the next couple weeks. I don't think the 53 is final, and I don't think the practice squad is final yet, because they're always going to be, there could be switch ups here and there before, once the season starts, then we'll know what's official and what the depth chart actually looks like. Hopefully get a release depth chart by that time. But if you guys enjoyed the video and you lasted this long, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. Appreciate everybody that's been hanging with me all off season. I know it's a long process, but we got through it, and we're almost there. A couple weeks away. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up? Follow side. Peace out, guys. Peace.